Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It is Movember. And in light of that, and us being in the performance dojo, I want to challenge you.
Two?
Are you nervous?
I am nervous. What are you talking about?
I want to challenge you to an exercise, like to see who can hold a V up the longest.
Oh, I hate you. I mean, look at those legs. They're like toothpicks. It's like 20 pounds. This is a deadlift machine.
I mean,
she picked the wrong exercise. Okay, so that we're going to do this?
Sure.
Right now?
Yeah.
In overalls.
And I mean, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's get started with the Alpha and Omega Health Podcast with doctors Rachel and Tri Myers.
So, Tri, what do you do in this dojo?
Okay, so it was interesting. We kind of were like, okay, what can we do to make it seem kind of cool and a cool little logo or whatever, but actually have some like realistic expectations of what we're trying to do here. So a dojo is just a Japanese word for dojo. Is a Japanese word for a house or a school or a place of learning. So we wanted to educate people on how to perform well. So that's the whole point of everything we're trying to do with chiropractic, nutrition, and movement is so that their body can perform well. So dojo was like a cool little name of like a place we can come so we can teach you guys how to do all that stuff.
Do I have to be a patient of yours to come to the dojo?
You don't. It makes it a little easier at the beginning just because as part of your rehab, a lot of the movements that you're going to do are just going to be a continuation of the rehab and then adding extra strength, load, speed, whatever to it. So it's a harder curve to learn some of the exercises if you're not used to it, but no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what we typically do, what we do is, for the most part, things that get neglected at the beginning of workouts. Your foam roller, your deep breathing, your movement, like your active mobility, your dynamic stuff. Well, that's the warm-up part. You're
what does
prepping
dynamic mean? And like, whenever I want to work out, I just want to like go and do.
Sure. How many people do that? How many people get injured?
Everybody. Yeah.
How many people go to your office because they're hurt because they're like, I don't want to foam roll, I don't want to stretch, I don't want to warm up, I'm just going to go ahead and put 200-300 pounds on the bar, let's go ahead and get it done.
Okay, that doesn't happen in my office, first of all, but they'll try to go and run a lot, and they have never run ever.
Sure. So, majority of the time they get hurt. So that's what we're trying to teach people, how to prep your body for movement. That's why we call it the movement prep. Okay, that's where we do the foam roller, deep breathing, active mobility, and then like the dynamic. So active mobility is you're just going through the motions. Dynamic means you're actually getting up and actually moving, like high knees, butt kickers, karaoke, that type of stuff. Okay. Then how we typically break it up into workout is.
Well, I have a question real fast.
Go ahead.
What if I've never like done stuff like this?
Like a sports athletic movement?
What if I am 65 years old and I would like to move well.
Sure.
Like, can I still do this stuff?
100%. So we have some basic soft foam rollers. If you can't do it on the ground, we do it on the wall. Hip opening stretches. We have progressions and regressions. So what that means, especially for the workout part, like once we're done doing the same kind of workout, it actually goes into what they call a tri-set of exercises.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh? So like a push, a pull, a squat, something like that. We just kind of alternate those movements. But say a deadlift, okay? Deadlift is our baseline one, a kettlebell deadlift. Say you've never done a deadlift before, or you don't have the strength to do it yet. We back it up, we regress to a movement that you can do. Or you're like, hey, I do that all the time. I want to bring some power speed into it. And then we'll do a kettlebell swing. So the same pattern or movement is there. We just either make it easier or we make it harder based off of that. So it shouldn't matter if you're a grandma or a 17-year-old football player, the workouts are still the same. You should be able to work alongside of it. As a trainer, you should just be able to, hey, grandma, you're not quite there yet. Let's go ahead and do this, but you can still do a fantastic workout with your grandson who's a football player, okay? So
that has been the really cool thing because we started doing these workouts we've been able to do this with 8, 9-year-olds.
Yeah, our kids, neighbors' kids.
Yeah.
People with injuries that they can't do some of the movements, and sometimes say I've been to many CrossFit gyms, and you get embarrassed sometimes if you're like, I can't do that movement, and you feel bad, and you still do the movement anyway, and then you wind up getting hurt and come to my office. So this whole thing is like, no, we don't want you to hurt. Like, these movements shouldn't have pain. So what we're trying to do is, hey, it's okay. Do this, this, and this, and you're still over there sweating like crazy, getting a great workout.
Yeah. A few months ago, you were talking about the SM blah, blah, blah
SFMA.
thing that you do. Yeah.
Yes.
And so there's that like first part, and then there was the second part.
The FMS,
Yeah.
functional movement screen.
And that's when they really start doing more of that stabilizing exercise stuff. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So is that when you actually get them into the Dojo?
Sure. So kind of like the timetable of someone coming in. Someone comes in, 95% of the time they're in pain. So we don't start them off in the dojo, okay? We typically do the SFMA, where we're trying to figure out what's causing the problem, what's breaking down the tissue. We do basic rehab for that. So they're still moving, they're still coming back in here. We're typically got it sanctioned off to one side. And so what we'll do is teach them how to foam roll, how to do the basic movements, some strengthening exercises for whatever their problem or pain related issue is. Okay, then we do the FMS. So remember, you shouldn't be in pain when we do the FMS. That's where you find your dysfunctions in your movement. Then that's when we start tailoring the exercise part based off of their movement patterns. Okay, so this was all developed by Mike Boyle at Certified Functional Strength and Conditioning. He has his whole thing based off of the functional movement screen. How can you improve these fundamental movement patterns, but with exercise?
Okay.
So as a treatment timetable, you come in, we do rehab, chiropractic stuff, etc., and then we start to wing you in to these classes so you can apply a load, strength, etc., to weak areas.
So there's classes going on like all day long?
Yes.
So I can't come in and do this myself?
No.
Okay.
Typically do one-on-one. If something's going on, you're very new. Say you're that grandma that's 65 and you're like, I've never set foot in a gym my whole life. And I'm kind of intimidated by this. So you see people doing movement and it's like, holy cow, kettlebell swinging around, pushing sleds, jumping on boxes. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
We have our trainers do one-on-one stuff so we can kind of sit down and coach what's going on, give you a comfort level where it's like, hey, those movements don't scare me now.
Yeah.
They're a reason why I need to do a deadlift. I just need to pick up something from the ground. Why I need to do a squat. I just need to get in and out of a chair. Why do I need to learn how to push or pull? Like, you got to bend over and pick up groceries or laundry or whatever. Like, those are activities of daily living. That's why we do these specific things here. So it's a lot different than just a gym setting.
Okay.
Did that kind of answer your question? So you can't just come in and just randomly, I'm going to work out today.
Yeah.
No,
there's scheduled
a set
classes
program.
that
Like,
you
this
can,
is,
you can participate
we
in.
don't have, this stuff is not just set up. The dojo, remember, that mindset is trying to help them and guide them in the right direction. It is not just a really cool workout. It's a program to help them improve everything. So we go over nutrition, we go over sleep, we go over all that fun stuff. And it's a mindset for you to have accountability for your own body. It's our job to help teach you how to take care of yourself.
Oh yeah.
Get after it.
Let's do that challenge try.
All right, so before we get into this fun challenge, we're gonna go over some of the stuff that we talked about earlier.
This is a foam roller.
Yeah, so it was a nice love-hate relationship, but go ahead and put it between your mid-back. We always start off with this just because it's a great way to improve the tissue tension, the temperature in the tissue. It loosens up the tissue, and we're gonna pair it up with breathing also. Yeah, go ahead and do a few rolls in the back. You can support the neck if you want, especially if your neck hurts. So this is how we're kind of hunched over all the time. It seems like at a desk. So what we typically do is just roll up and down, and then once you kind of feel like you're a little bit warm in here, I'll have you put the butt on the ground, and then just now one vertebrae at a time, just extend back over the foam roller. But what I do is I also try to pair it up with breathing. So go ahead, go back. It's opening up the chest, so that's when air should come in, and then when she comes back, she should breathe out. Typically about 2 or 3 breaths per segment in the spine. And then what I have you do is just roll this way. Good. Stop. Same thing. Put the butt on the ground. Take a nice deep breath. Let it all out. Good. So we'll go all the way up and down the spine here. Okay. Now, if you want to get in between that shoulder blade, because a lot of people have those little knots around what they call your rhomboids, inner traps, you bring one arm across your chest, lean to that side you have crossed just a little bit. That's good. About, say if you're on the foam roller here, maybe about 20, 30 degrees, just so you can roll on the inside edge of that shoulder blade. Bring your butt up. Go do that way, okay? Bring your butt up off the ground. Then now roll on the end of that shoulder blade. There you go. Now when you do this, a lot of times you'll roll over a tight tissue, like a little marble. She's getting it right now, just kind of kneading that area out. Sometimes I like to stomp on it, and then I will move that arm lightly, the one that you're working on. There you go. Perfect. And then what you're doing is they're doing like what they call a pin and stretch technique. You're pushing that tissue down, and then now you're moving that tissue underneath it. So when you look at the muscles and fascial layers, we'll talk about that probably in another podcast, is it should glide like two pieces of silk. If you have an injury there, some scar tissue buildup, it's like gum. So when you move it, it wants to kind of grab it together, and so the tissue doesn't move well. So that's where range of motion will be affected. What you're doing is you're attacking that tissue down, you're moving it, you're trying to break that adhesion up for the most part.
Cool.
Okay? All right, go ahead and sit on it. We're gonna do the hips. Last one. Big three that I like to tell people, especially beginning how to do this, is that mid-back one, that shoulder blade one, and then sit on it. We're gonna work that oblique area. Cross the leg, whatever leg is crossed, you're gonna tilt your body toward that side. So there again, if you have that foam roller, your butt's gonna be raised up about 20, 30 degrees. So you're gonna feel it on that right side. There again, you roll up and down. Good. Typically, if you've never done this before, this one will light you up. So this is probably one of the more painful ones. Then you stop where you have that little tender spots at. You can kind of move up and down like Rachel's doing, or you can move that knee up and down. There you go. Kind of just dig that whole area out. Do that pin and stretch technique. Then switch to the other side.
You gotta even it out.
Yep. So if you have one side that's a lot tighter than the other one, you probably have an unbalanced pelvis. You should probably go get checked out by a professional.
It's time for this V-up challenge try. Let's do it.
Can I use, this is my V-up?
No.
What is a V-up?
So we're gonna hang out on our butts.
Do that.
And then you can raise one leg and the other leg together, and then your hands
I can do
out.
this all day long. All right, I know what you're talking about. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm already tired. Where'd my hands go? I don't know where my hands. Okay.
What do you do with your hands?
Cry. Push my tears away.
I love how you're cheating a little bit by doing that.
Can I move?
I am too.
All right. Next, I'll lose. You go do this thing. Come on. All right.
The death sled.
Come on, Death Sled. Go ahead, Z. I know you can do
How
it.
much is this?
I don't know, too much. Just do it. 1, 2, 3. Get that inner football player going. Go! Show those reasonable high kids what to do. Come on!
So pitiful.
Let's go! Good! All right. You did it! So normally we won't have you pushing that much weight.
No, that
It's all
was
about
way
speed,
too
not about
much.
power. But hey, you did fantastic. Thanks for watching the podcast. It's super great. So we want you to get moving for November or Movember. So also just like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to our nice little social media stuff. Just support us if you can. And we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.